Alrighty guys, and welcome back. Here we are on the Dead Dog Saloon. What's the map called? I forgot. Something, a Grave of Glenvale is the realm. I lost the words there for a second. But Yokatix on the Wraith has already found out Excise here, who's not playing the typical competitive ace cosmetic. I think we see a bit of a different cosmetic going on here. Possibly the Park Ranger Wraith, if you will. But we have found Swatter, who is working on a generator over here, and Yokatix trying to mind game a potentially unmind gameable balance, just because we're talking about sequence here. I mean, they have the king of check spots. Swatter definitely knows his check spots. Gonna be hard to mind game that pallet, I'd say. But Yokatix, I mean, just really doing the break and run strategies here, getting rid of some walls, getting rid of some pallets, taking the generators, and going after survivors to get rid of more pallets. That was a pretty early drop on the pallet there, I'd say. And we're just gonna take pathing around the pallet, which is not gonna work because Yokatix is able to use his power to optimally get the hit there, and we're just gonna continue this chase over the shack. Firecracker being played. Yokatix, wait, do Firecracker burns still work, or is that not a thing anymore?
It's not a thing anymore. There's no burning here. You can get the blind, but you can't get the burn. We are going to be continuing the chase here over onto Swatter, who's going for that window, but Yokat's not going to allow them to get it. Big hit through the window there. You love to see it. Thanks, DBD. We are going to be venturing off again. Sloppy Butcher now applied. Eruption applied to almost every generator on the map now. Yokat not messing around here with his yellow auras at all. He is going to be checking back to the Gallows gen where he was just before and make sure that the progress on there isn't so much. It can be a nice little spot to catch survivors off guard too, Squill, because balanced landing I don't think is allowed on Dead Dog. So might be a nice little way to catch our survivors off guard doing that gen.
Yeah, and what do we see here? Well, we did see 3 survivors injured, but Seth did just get healed. Yokatix was looking for a 4th injured, but now we only see 2 survivors injured, as Yokatix did get the hit onto iPick. Swatter was the only one left. It looks like they're completely co-oping heals, so that's going to be all generators regressing as the hit is applied onto iPick over the pallet. Very last second hit coming in from Yokatix, able to have knowledgeable insight over the lunge distance on Philip Ajomo the Wraith. And look at sequence here. They're completely preventing Yokatix from getting into the basement. Very smart strategy, and that wasn't even a pain resonance hook, actually. It was not a scorch.
No, it was a bit of dominance. Just letting them know about their whereabouts. Just saying, hey, I'm over here, Yokat, what's up? Just making sure that they know we are getting a little bit greedy here for the Gallows gen, and to stop that regression as we see Excise on the main gen pop off in the distance there. We are going to be continuing the chase throughout the Gallows now, but that generator there with a bit of progress at least. We're going to take a hit and run to main. And why is that? Because we're filthy little survivors over here abusing main buildings. But unfortunately, we're running straight into Yokat's arms.
No.
Here, trying to get away. Excise, thankfully, there to take a hit and give him a little bit more distance.
Yeah, but that's 3 survivors injured. Yokatix once again looking for a possible fourth injure. I think my mic's shut out. Does have Sloppy Butcher to play with here, and Seth now goes down right by this pallet and has a hook right in where all the generators have been hit. The only generator is the one generator you shouldn't really care about on Killer, and that generator, being the main building generator, is completed. And on the Dead Dog Saloon, I mean, you can't really pressure that generator much, especially as an M1 killer. Even with Wraith speed, but Swatter able to just completely walk past the pallet as Yokatix does swing through, just looking to get stunned by it, to be honest, looking to get rid of all the pallets possible. And that's what we've seen this game. A lot of resources have been used, and Yokat doesn't even have Bamboozle, to play around the windows, so, I mean, if you sequence here, you do have a lot to play with regarding the windows. As Wraith can vault over it all he wants, even with Shadow Dance, like, you're just going to be able to go back to it. However, Excise does have this palette to play around with here, is playing for the stun, it seems, as you should on the Dead Dog Saloon, but Excise is able to dodge hit, not going to be able to do it again. It gets injured at the pallet, and what do we see here? Generator progressed 50%, the rest of the survivors are resetting, and Sloppy Butcher gonna be doing a lot of slowdown here. Lucky Break did just run out from Excise, who is now corner teching, does go down, and this is gonna be Yokat's first hook on Excise. However, we did see that this nearby hook was not a Scourge earlier, and I guess the other one possibly isn't as well. So I think Sequence might be aware of that, and that's why they're taking it down in that corner. There's no Scourge hooks, no nearby. No Pain Resonance going to be applied, allowing a second generator to get completed. However, we're looking at 3 unique stages so far with only 2 generators completed, Barn.
Yeah, pretty good spot for both sides. I think they're dealing really nicely with the pressure and making sure that they reset, I think, which is good. Historically, and what we've seen is when teams prioritize resetting, they're not getting the pressure on the generators, but we seem to be going at a pretty decent pace here for both the hooks and the gens, so it's nice to see here. We are going to be doing a little bit of tactical waiting around the hook, making sure that iPick doesn't get this unhook for free, so we'll apply Sloppy Butcher with a nice little hit there and continue going back to our generators, which we can see it's kind of a nice little setup over here on this side of the map. I can see why he keeps coming back here. He's got a nice little arrangement of generators in the, do you call it the cactus field? We'll go with that. It sounds nice. In the cactus field.
Yeah, I mean, that's something they call it. Other comp players would call it by a number, I think, or something. But here we have Yokat just really embracing the hit-and-run Wraith tactics, looking for another injure here onto Seth, who has this pallet to play with. Ends up just taking distance towards the other pallet. Very well played by Seth, pre-dropping this pallet as well, as Yokat just able to eat through it using the Shadow Dance add-on. Absolutely cracked movement coming in here from Seth, able to completely prevent Yokat from breaking the pallet, who does eventually decide to fake the uncloak and apply pressure elsewhere. What do we see here, though? All the generators towards this shack side of the map, just kind of in a circle around here. I think basement hook would be absolutely brutal for Yokat here in this situation, and would really put Luminescence ahead going into their survivor match, I think.
Yeah, I think having someone in the basement in between these gens that he is managing so well, I think would be a really, really nice treat for him, but I think Sequence are just too smart to allow that to happen, and you can see when they get hit, they're taking distance because they know full well that they don't want to be hooked in that basement, because they are right between all of the generators that are left on the map here. First time we're going to be going to main. I don't think Yokat's going to be committing to that, though. No, he's not. No chase perks, though, so it makes sense that he's not committing to main, because I know that that building can be quite a pain there, as we see it down on iPick and the eruption proc onto our friend Excise on the generator there.
You did
Look
see
at the
that
value.
Water had a flashlight there, although it doesn't seem that he really went for a flashlight save or pallet save or anything onto iPick. iPick just completely left stranded by the criminal Adam there. But Yokat able to just apply pressure to the hook from the balcony of the gallows. But I mean, Yokat here has eruption onto multiple generators already, even after the cooldown.
Oh!
Finds Excise selfing in the bush. Excise has been caught out, gets the lunge around the pallet, absolutely cranked maneuvering coming in from Yokat. Able to find out survivors, able to get the Wraith hug techs around the pallet, getting the lunge, even with the the nerfed speed duration after being uncloaked used to be 1.25 seconds, now it's only 1 second. However, it doesn't prove to really do much on the dead dog killer pallets, as sometimes, I mean, you can just pretty much lunge around the entire thing, and Yokat doing a very light patrol onto iPick here, possibly forcing death, and goes ahead and cloaks up, gets the movement speed bonus, and gonna patrol these 4 generators that are relatively nearby each other. Considering some of the other generators that were already completed, being the main building generator, which is super hard to pressure as killer, and there's another one towards the shops on the Dead Dog Saloon. But what do we see here? We see all 3 survivors remaining in the trial. They've reset. They're ready to take on Yokat here. But there's a lot of pallets destroyed, so I'm not sure how they're gonna go about it here, Barn.
Yeah, Yokat's done a really nice job of forcing chasers around the areas that the generators are, which ultimately results in the resources being taken away. So he's in such a good position here. I think Sequence are going to have to play it really slowly in order to get any progress on these generators. And I think we're going to be taking a bit of a trip in a time machine back to our Call of Brine Eruption meta, where we're camping 3 gens, because I think we're in it for a bit of a long haul here with the gen setup that we've got, and Yokat's really committed to protecting these generators.
Yeah, Slaughter with the absolute cranked stealth gameplay coming in there, being crouched as Adam in a bush. But that's already going to be a hit on the sets right after the resets are completed. And Yokat's looking for another injure with Sloppy Butcher. He's not done at all. All Excise has to play with is this window here, but able to fake Yokat out, force Yokat into using that entire speed. Ooh. Gets the stun as well. Very well played in this chase so far by Excise, but that's another pallet destroyed. I mean, what do they really have to work with here in this situation if you're Sequence? Not much. Yeah. There's not a lot of pallets remaining on the map. We do see one over here that's still in the generators, so you maybe want to try and consider. Slaughter just crouched right by this crow here. I feel like every time the camera switches over to our Adam, Slaughter, I mean, he's just crouched inside of a bush. It's so funny. But
just doing dead dog things.
Really, really looking around the map here, checking all the nooks and crannies, all the corners, trying to find out another survivor for a Sloppy Butcher injured as Sweet Sequence tries to reposition themselves. They have to get from the main building over to the side of the map where the generators are, but Excise has been found once again, maybe taking chase on purpose. Excise might just be that confident. However, Yokat just knocks down the breakable walls, is able to apply pressure elsewhere, possibly looking for any other generator that might have some progress going here. I think what Sequence is looking to do is probably getting a 4th generator done if possible. They're going to be applying pressure towards the water tower windmill generator and applying pressure towards this far generator that's not on top of the gallows. However, if that generator in the distance there gets completed, it's going to be hard to get rid of that other 3 gen, to be honest. So what we're going to see is 2 different survivors pressure 2 different generators, while Excise just kind of plays the cat and mouse game here, as Yokat not having any of it, not going for the hit onto Excise, is going to try and look for Slaughter here, which might not even be possible considering we're on the Dead Dog Saloon. Yeah, really good stealth gameplay coming out from Sequence here. They don't have many resources to work with, so they're just optimally playing with stealth, I'd say.
Yeah, I think so. It's such a tough situation for the survivor team of Sequence, right? Because their only option at the moment now is to take a hit and then get distance. So they're usually going to be running to main for here because it's all that they're able to do without any pallets in the area. Yokat's smart enough not to commit to a chase in the main area or away from these generators. So it's almost a standstill in a sense that, you know, Sequence, if they get found, they're going to be taking a hit and running for distance, possibly to the main building area or the other side of the map away from the generators. And Yokat's refusing to chase there and he's just going to come back to the gen. So quite a tough spot for Sequence. And I know a lot of our newer viewers will kind of think that this is like their public matches, but I think it's a common strategy on Dead Dog Saloon when you've got a weaker killer such as Wraith. Our survivor teams don't have exhaustions, they don't have healing perks, there's a lot of restrictions against him here. So in some cases, this is what he has to do in order to get a really nice win condition and good results.
Yeah, we did see that Swatter was able to reposition himself a little early there, able to get a reset on the Excise. However, Excise is already injured again, and Yokat's able to apply another sloppy butcher hit on the set, possibly going to commit to the chase here, actually, just because Yokat's going to predict that Excise and Swatter might be healing up yet again. I think that's another survivor scratch marks over here, actually. And Seth's just going to go ahead and vault the window. Yokat finally, once again, gets it down, using the eruption value onto all three generators. However, that's me, Swatter working on a generator in the distance, only 40% because of eruption. But Excise gonna go ahead and maybe stealth for the save. Jumps out of the main building in front of Yokat. That's a quick find on the Excise, and what does he really have to work with here? At this point, Sequence has realized, okay, he gets the fake on the window, but that's going to be the down on the Excise. Sequence has realized here that Yokat does not have a Bamboozle to play around with.
No pressure, Swatter, no pressure.
There's not going to be any aura reading add-ons here, so Swatter able to just take advantage of the bush. But yes, I mean, Sequence was able to play around knowing the fact that Yokat has not brought Bamboozle to this trial, but Swatter's gonna maybe go for the cheeky generator completion here. Wait, Detective Yokat over here has found Swatter, who doesn't have much to work with at all, has his pallet over here, but that's pretty much it. You're in the corner of the map. Yokat has Shadow Dance available to break the pallet faster, and as we know, Flashlight Burning does not work against Wraith anymore, but that's going to be a hit on Swatter, who's not able to make that final pallet in time. Yokat vaults the window, no Bamboozle to play with, Swatter able to just go around. Sequence definitely realizing how to counterplay this, and Swatter pretty much going to be forced into playing for the stun here. As he loops around the pallet, goes for the possible blind onto Yokat, but impending doom, Swatter is taken out by Yokat, and that's going to be the first hook stage, I believe, going on a Swatter here in this situation. Excise being the survivor that has been hooked once, 2 stages remaining on him. But Yokat looking to speed around the map, looking to find Excise, whose only real play here is to go for the possible bleed out, and it appears that's what he's doing, hiding in the main building. Kind of an unpredictable spot, I'd say, as opposed to like the corners of the map, which Yokat is already checking. So you've got about a 2-minute timer there on Excise, I'd say, to find him. 1 minute 30 seconds, something around there. I think the total bleed out timer is like 5 minutes or something, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it's 4, but we have seen people a couple of times going up into the little secret room in the main building, and often it can be enough for them to wiggle out if the door is unbroken between them, or if there's the different RNG spawn where that side room is opened and available. But unfortunately for Excise, he's not going to be bleeding out upstairs by himself alone in a room. He is going to be picked up and put on this hook, awarding Yokat all points for the 4K. 12 stages. It's going to be a final score of 28-6. A 4K at 3. Again, absolutely unpredictable results. I never would have expected Sequence not to get 5 gens done.
Yeah, I mean, Luminescence here, they're really showing why they picked Wraith, and I think we've seen it here in this game. They're really just that confident, and we've seen them pick Wraith a lot in the past. Luminescence, I'd say, is a very good, confident team on Wraith. I think they 1v1 Wraith as well a lot during their spare time while not participating in tournaments. But, I mean, Wraith, really strong for Luminescence. Yokat able to 4K on 2 generators. Just incredibly impressive performance from Luminescence killer Yokat. I mean, 4K on 2 generators as Wraith. That's not something you would think you would see often, but here on the Dead Dog Saloon, it does happen, especially with the no balanced landing, really no exhaustion. I don't even think we really saw a head-on stun come out that game from Sequence, as Yokat was just able to eat away at all the resources, really messing up Sequence's chances. However, we're looking at a final score, Luminescence having 28 points, maximum possible points on Killer, while Sequence left with 8 points after the, sorry, not 8 points, why did I say 8 points? I meant 6 points after the 3 generators were completed, so very doable win condition for Luminescence survivors here, but we'll have to see after a short break.
And welcome back to the Dead Dog Saloon. We've got Exize on Philippa Jomo, the Swift Destroyer, looking to deny our survivor team of Luminescence completing 4 generators here today. We've got a very strong survival lineup. We've got Delusion, VLT, Zanami, and Sasuha coming in hot, ready to juice on up. And a lot of them are wearing their finest bush diving cosmetics, so it wouldn't surprise me if we see more SWAT attacks in the bushes today. Unfortunate miss there through the shack window, but we are going to continue the chase around the shack as the rest of our survivor team. Never mind Caster's Curse. We're going to go and check on our gen progress.
Yeah, all Luminescence survivors really need to do here is get 4 generators completed. I mean, it's definitely not an easy feat, 4K'ing on 3 generators, or what, 2 generators remaining as Wraith, and could be possible for Exize here. He is running the exact same build that Yokat was in the last game. Absolutely no Bamboozle to play with, but we see that Delusion here not even able to get the blind there. I thought he was going to be able to do that, but Shadow Dance just not allowing it. Exize breaks the pallet too fast, and Delusion was able to stall a lot of time for Exize there. I mean, just vaulting over the pallet, but Exize gets the mind game onto Sasua. Absolutely cracked maneuvering there by Exize. And what do we see here now? We're going to see the Gallows Shen regressing. That's one of the few generators with progress here. Sounds like there's some progress on the main generator. Exize just going to ignore it because that generator is not really... Blast Mine coming out.
Pepe loser.
Blast Mine stun. Gonna go ahead and waste a whole 5 seconds there for Exize, as we're seeing survivors more often in this game slow vault the windows, making sure that they waste as much time as possible for generators to get completed. And I mean, that's already a generator coming out. No hooks have happened yet. Although, that being said, it is the hardest generator pressure on the map, being the main generator. But we do see that the gens are a little bit more spread this game than they were last game, I think.
Yeah, it's still got 3 gens around the old cactus field, but not as tightly together as Yokat's. It does seem like Exize is doing the same strategy with the same build, though, except this time he's going to be going to the resets to interrupt them. I think that's the biggest difference here, is that Yokat was letting the survivor team of Sequence reset, whereas Exize is trying to interrupt it, but unfortunately, by interrupting the reset, it does mean that another generator pops in the distance. That is 2 generators being completed now. big head on there.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Delusion not getting that head on. Excise is far too smart to get stunned stupid today, but he is going to be taking chase back to the other side of the map. Nice little window vault there for him, and a couple of pallets in this general area, and quite a distance away from his gen. So not surprising there, Excise chooses to go back and just to make sure that his generators aren't progressing, but I think they are. We've got a survivor team that have a plan and a goal, and that's to get these generators done while the other two meet up in the main building for a little bit of rubbing and tugging.
Yeah, Excise really showcasing the sheer brain power. They're able to counterplay the head-on stun that Luminescence was trying to go for, but that pallet was broken without Shadow Dance. However, it's not even going to matter. Excise is just going to be able to get a hit on to Dia here, who's able to vault the window again, knowing that Excise does not have a people at the point, as I'm sure was already called out. We're looking at Eruption, Pain Resonance, and Sloppy Butcher, as well as the usual Corrupt Intervention. But Ardias here to be able to play around this pallet for as long as possible, as Excise is gonna try and go for that down. However, there's gonna be no hit take coming through. They're really just Luminescence here. I mean, they're trying to go for the generator completions, allowing Excise to get potentially a score hook here. If it is a score hook, that's being 25% applied onto the most progressed generator, that being 25% of total progress, not current progress, which is a lot of regression. That's like OG Pop Goes the Weasel right there. But Excise looking to find some more survivors, looking to possibly get some more pressure. However, it's not going to be easy. I mean, if you're Luminescence here, you really only need 2 more generators, and Excise, I mean, you're going to go ahead and regress the Gallows generator, but what other generators have been progressed? Probably some more, as Excise is able to find out the LT here, who gets the reverse stun, but Excise gets the hit, so it doesn't even matter. And VLT now just taking chase towards the corner of the map. A very cranked pallet here. Okay, Excise. That's definitely gonna help sequence. That hit through the pallet, I mean, that's gonna give Excise a little bit more time. I don't think Luminescence were prepared for that hit to happen. VLT just wasn't ready for the strength of Excise's fire axe here. But he's going to cloak back up, apply more pressures towards other generators, as Luminescence really still just looking to get those last 2 generators completed.
Yeah, I think a wise man once said, cry about it, which is possibly what Excise was saying to that hit there. But that's just what Sasuha's going to be saying right back to him as he gets that nice stun there without being hit. Very nicely done to get that stun. I'm not quite sure if he's going to be going for the unhook. It doesn't look like it. He is going to be going back into main. We'll take the hit and we'll return back to the hook. That is Sasuha taking the hit now and running off into the distance. We do get the unhook though. We've now got Zanami over here. I think they may not try and protect VLT, who was just unhooked. BT well and truly would have been run out now. Our 3rd generator pops in the distance. I think VLT's learnt about the pallets now. He's playing it a little bit safer, really utilizing this pallet and giving us the show that we love to see from Luminescence survivors.
Yeah, at this point, Excise, if you want to even just tie the game here, you need to get a 4K right now. But what are we looking at here in the bottom left corner? Only 2 hook stages, and this is gonna be another hook on a VLT. However, that's not even a stack of pain resistances. VLT has already been hooked, and Excise looking to regress the generator. Actually, fakes regressing the generator, as there are 2 survivors waiting nearby, it seems. And Nia just applying pressure towards the generator here. Excise able to get in at 1, but it's not even going to matter as VLT gets unhooked. Very well played by Luminescence here. Absolutely cracked team play coming through. who's
There it
able
is.
to- Yeah, that's the game winner for Luminescence. Luminescence has taken the Wraith set. All generators completed, only 3 hook stages so far. And Nia's just able to fake the pallet here, potentially getting some outs, maybe a 3-out coming through as XI looks for his final down here. And I mean, yeah, outstanding performance from Luminescence, really showing why they picked Wraith.
Definitely, we are going to see everyone's favorite Hardwell dying in the comp corner, allowing his team to open those gates and to potentially escape the trial unharmed, which would be nice to see. Again, Squill, this is why I love Luminescence. I love watching them. Just their chases are so good. For a team that's only recently come together, I think their coordination and their synergy is amongst some of the top teams. So there's such a joy to watch. Really, really nice results from them. Unfortunate for Excise, but that was a very tough win condition for him.
Yeah, they're very synergized. They know exactly how to analyze the map around them, use communication effectively over the frowned upon Discord comms four-man Swift. But yeah, I mean, Excise was not able to handle the sheer pressure from Luminescence there. And you'll notice that Luminescence didn't really go for a lot of hit takes, it seemed. They kind of just pretty much relied on their chases. I think because they didn't really have to worry about giving away early stages, as YoCat was able to 4K on 2 generators. So they had a little bit more breathing room versus Wraith. I think oftentimes you will see a lot of hit takes come through, especially versus M1 killers, but not this time, as YoCat, I mean, very good result. Luminescence able to take advantage of that and just go for a lot of gen pressure, prolong the chase for as long as possible as you can do by yourself when you're getting chased as Survivor, especially with some of the unsafe pallets there. It's not an easy feat to last long on the Dead Dog Saloon as Survivor. But what are we looking here as far as score goes, Barn?
We do end up with a final score of 45 to Luminescence and 18 to Sequence. So Luminescence taking the first set, well deserved, very nice to see. But you know what that means, Squill? It's time for the Mastermind on the Coal Tower. So let's take a quick break, set that one up, and we'll be back with you on the Coal Tower with the Mastermind.
Alrighty, guys, and here we are for the first game of Albert Wesker of the day. Super excited to witness a Mastermind performance here on the Coal Tower, especially from a prominent Wesker player such as General Blight, knowing all the techs, like everything you can do as Wesker. Already going for a slide tech, an insanely cracked hit onto Zanami here, as General Blight is able to force Zanami to kind of corner the map here, breaking the pallet on the pallet gem, and Zanami just takes spacing over towards this filler pallet, as it's going to be hard to get anywhere else. I think if you're Zanami here in this situation, what else do you have to work with? You have that car pallet on the main building that you can possibly get to. However, Wesker is doing a really good job zoning here in this situation, preventing any of that from happening. Very cracked flick. Okay, General Blight coming out with the absolutely cranked Wesker plays, able to get a down on his enemy here. However, I think that was risky, as I feel like Luminescence could have maybe taken some hits there, but I don't think it's gonna happen, as Zanami gets hooked using the Scourge hook pain resonance stack coming out onto a generator and the distance possibly. However, that would have been the least progressed generator. That kill generator was already completed. However, General Blight just hitting like every virulent bounce so far. I mean, absolutely cracked plays coming out. And what do we see here? VLP getting chased behind the main building as General Blight just trying to clear out those breakable walls.
Yeah, really, really nicely done by General Blight. And if there's one thing we know about a hill hook on the coal tower, it's that it can sometimes be just as strong as basement here. Having just the one entrance to go up there, it's probable that they're going to have to send in 2 of the teammates to come and save it for Zanami off the hook here. But we are going to probably see Luminescence knowing full well that, there we go, if he's being camped, they're probably going to be progressing the generators. So I think that's a lot of difference here that we see in our competitive matches in the DBDLeague compared to a lot of other matches that we see floating around, is that our players and our teams, they just know what to do. So if someone's being camped, you know full well that they're going to be getting progress on those generators. A nice for the people play coming through, so we're not going to see any tunneling, and if we do, that is completely unfair because he is now full health. But we are going to be continuing it. Now, unfortunate, he's almost going to be infected as well, Squill. So that's going to mean that he's going to get that insta-grab potential.
Yeah, the hindered as well, it does quite a lot as you're trying to loop around pallets, but
oh, timing.
It doesn't happen in time. General Blight gets the injure onto Zanami, not the insta down. However, Zanami is in fact already injured and does have the hindered status effect as well. So General Blight able to just get that final hook, and that's already a dead Nia for Luminescence at 3 generators. Definitely not as good as a survivor performance as we saw last game from them. However, I mean, given it is sequences pick on the Wesker here, making sense. I mean, General Blight absolutely cracked Wesker player and gets the mind game onto VLT. Look at the movement here, the mind games. Very strong mind games, very strong hits, very strong movement coming out from General Blight on Wesker. What did you say, Barn?
Absolutely, and this is why so many people love playing as and playing against the Mastermind. So enjoyable to watch as well from our perspective. Really nice to see that mechanical skill, right, come through. I think that it's so nice to see someone mechanically skilled at the killer that they're playing who knows the ins and outs of the killer's power. And that's just what we're seeing here, except for that moment. We don't talk about that one. That's fine. That's fine. Now we are going to be having a look at the generators left on the map there. I'm hoping that he turns around soon so we can see where the other ones are. But we do have 2 up here on the shack side. So it does look like Luminescence have left quite a nice split here with the gens, forcing General Blight to go on a bit of a map tour to make sure that he's kicking those gens to get the eruption and the pop value. You can see a really nice split, so that's a job well done by Luminescence and definitely setting them up in a good position for this 3v1.
Yeah, you talk about that mechanical skill, Barn, and I think that's okay. That was interesting. I feel like Sasha was already over the window, however it doesn't even matter. Wesker's just able to grab the Claudette here in this situation and possibly just completely get it down here, as Sasha was able to completely dodge a follow-up turbulent down. Maybe able to make this pallet here? Possibly. Is it going to happen? It's not. General Blight really taking advantage of the Ouroboros add-on there. Able to just get a longer dash with the first dash. I mean, really proving a viable add-on. However, I was talking about the mechanical skill, and I feel like that's a harder feat now in DBD compared to what it used to be, because in old DBD, what I saw was a lot of people maining specific builds. General Blight not even allowing me to have a conversation here, able to just get downs as quick as possible, showing that he's really experienced on the Wesker plays. However, you saw, what I was saying is you saw a lot of mains back in the day. You saw a lot of killer mains, people maining one specific killer. However, what are there, like 25 killers in the game now or more? And it's hard to be experienced on every single one of them, I'd say. And there's so many killers you need to play that you're gonna see the same player playing multiple different killers, and quite frankly a lot of killers as well. So maybe at this point, if you're a competitive DBD team, you want your survivor players to also know how to play some of the other killers.
Absolutely. Now, I think it's worth mentioning as well is that this is the same Wesker that Xeno ran for 5 gens a couple of weeks ago. So, absolutely complete turnaround in the gameplay here from what we saw then to what we've seen now. General Blight definitely coming out and trying to prove a point. Absolutely incredible gameplay is what we're seeing here, and he is going to continue. That was
Every
absolute
time.
filth. Absolute filth.
Every time on the window.
Good lord. I don't think General Blight's going to be allowed a Wesker set after this. I really don't. He's going to be using this VOD to be making a Wesker montage. I think we're going to see a couple of clips from Exiles after this game of how Weskers really play Dead by Daylight.
Yeah, although we do... okay, exercise videos. Anyway, we do see a 4th generator coming out from Luminescence, just completely ignoring resetting in this situation. We do see that Sasua is currently hindered by the infection, and General Blight just taking advantage of it once again, able to get yet another down. And SB Sasua going back to 50% progress on the infection. That's what happens when you hook the survivors. It's a balanced decision just to keep Wesker in check, making sure his tunnel potential isn't crazy strong, although it is pretty strong. I mean, you do have that infection still remaining, and Delusion just taking pathing, faking the window for as long as possible, and he's just able to completely dodge the hit going around the generator there on this 3-lane tile. So now has the pallet to play with. Doesn't even matter. General Blight does a really good job mind gaming the pallet, able to get the hit effectively as he lunges through. However, that's an unhook onto Sasua and the distance, possibly looking to spray and remove the infection, maybe if possible. However, it's not gonna be easy to do as they're kind of both stuck in the corner of the map there. It's gonna be hard to get another generator out as well, I'd say.
Yeah, it's going to be tough being in a 2v1 where both injured. Sasuha is borderline almost infected as well. So it's really tough here in this scenario. If Sasuha does use the spray, his location is going to be found. So it does make it very, very tricky. We're doing the standoff here, but BLT winning the battle of the pallet there. Nice to see. I just wanted to mention as well, Squill, you know, we often have our chat open in the Discord server with our match officials and our wonderful staff in the background giving us the important information, but almost every message sent this game is not about the score, it's not about perks, it's not about add-ons, it's just, what? Nah, this guy, what is this? Just absolutely complimenting the gameplay that they're watching. So you love to see it when a killer comes out with such mechanical skill, just absolutely annihilating and destroying these filthy survivors on the box.
Yeah, and that's a good point. The Mastermind being one of the killers with probably one of the highest possible skill ceilings there are in terms of all Dead by Daylight killers. There's so many techs you can do on him, so many things. Although it is a little, as Sasha goes down there, it is a little annoying when you're playing Wesker and you vault a pallet, but the survivor is just able to go through you and vault again, completely removing that whole gameplay on Wesker. But it doesn't even matter here for General Blight, able to just get insane pressure, and we saw that Sasha didn't even try to use the first aid spray there. Just try and pressure generators as much as possible. Not easy to do here with a triple stack on progression perks, as General Blight just able to close the hatch. Adrenaline play onto BLT, possibly trying to lose Wesker here in this situation. It is doable, it's definitely plausible. However, it's not going to be easy as both doors are, you can definitely get line of sight on both of them, I feel like, here. And General Blight is going to try and play the pallet. Doesn't even matter. VLT is going to get hit by the absolutely cranked virulent down plays yet again coming out from General Blight here in this situation. And, I mean, we're looking at, what, a 4K on one generator here as General Blight gets that final hit onto VLT. Ending the trial here. Just has to make it over to the hook. And not going to be hard to do as VLT isn't wiggling here, although probably would have made it anyway. So, Yeah, that's the hook coming out on the BLT. 4K on one generator. That's a pretty good Wesker result, especially on Toll Tower. But yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
Sequence looking to be in a strong spot here.
Absolutely, it's such a nice position to put the survivor team of Sequence. Really well played by General Blight there, our P100 mastermind right there, showing us how it's done, and a final score of 28 points to Sequence and 8 points for Luminescence. I'm not entirely sure who's going to come out on the mastermind for Luminescence, but oh boy, have they got a task ahead of them when they do. So we're going to set up that lobby and come back after a short break with Luminescence on the mastermind going against the survivor team of Sequence on the Call Tower. Welcome back, everyone. We are looking at Yokat on the mastermind, trying to prevent all 5 generators from being completed by our survivor team of Sequence. We've got Checkspot Master, Eggsize, Bush Diver Swatter, Seth, and iPick ready to juice on up and to get those escapes out the door, hopefully. Fingers crossed, and then we can potentially go to our tiebreaker set, which I think I'm secretly wanting to see a little bit of Artist today. We are going to start off, as we usually do, breaking those doors at the main building, just setting up nicely before we get into a chase with someone, which we're going to do now that we've spotted them.
Yeah, I love how we're slowly figuring out the team roles of each survivor here, as we do find out Seth, who does have a pallet to play with on this jungle gym, but Yokat is not able to shut down the window, just ends up vaulting over it with the 20% increased range. I thought maybe Yokat would have been able to just shut down the window, but Seth playing optimally, forcing Yokat into a vault. Absolutely crank plays coming through from some Sequence so far. Yokat maybe not as practiced on the Wesker as he is on some of the other killers, but okay, Eggsize is just not joking, dropping the pallet super early, and Yokat is able to kick the generator, almost playing like Wraith here, Barn, I think, able to just use hit and run, break and run tactics, similar playstyle to what we saw in Dead Dog, exact same build as well.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure if that's what he's comfortable with, and what I mean, it worked for him on the Wraith set, right? But I think there's a little bit of difference there when you're looking at a Wraith with without the survivor team. They had no healing perks, they had no exhaustions. They've got all of that here now, so I'm not quite sure if the strategy pays off, but having a look at the gen split, if he's able to kind of sit on one side of the map and protect it, I think it could pay off for him in the long run, but I think it is going to be a little bit of tug of war, a give and take with the survivor team here, because I don't think they're going to be in the same position or allow themselves to be in the same position as they were on the Dead Dog Saloon. Beautiful stun there coming through, and a big old blind just to assert the dominance and just show them who's in charge as we go to bound to the main building. A really nice grab there on Eggsize, and I think we will be continuing chase over here to the jungle gym.
Yeah, first generator of the game being completed, as well as the first injure of the game comes through, I believe. And that's not even going to be Sloppy Butcher, as Eggsize was hit by a grab, but Yokat able to get both virulent bound hits on to Eggsize there. Absolutely cranked maneuvering on the Wesker. However, a generator has already been completed. There's a generator progress elsewhere completely denied now by the 25% coming through from Scourge, Hook, Pain Resonance. However, Sequence has had some good early game pressure, and there hasn't yet been a Sloppy Butcher applied, as all the hits have been with the power. And Yokat able to have incredible patience there, getting the hit on the iPick. Very well played there from Yokat. iPick pre-dropping the main building pallet, able to take spacing towards the generator, as I think the Impending Doom just comes through for iPick here, because the Hindered will soon be applied, and it's very hard as Survivor once that Hindered comes through from the infection. But iPick still able to loop around this pallet here. Yokat continuing to chase really hard, committing here as Seth comes through for the hit take. Yet another infection on the Seth. But that's now 2 survivors injured. However, it did prolong the chase, and yeah, there's not going to be any more pain resonance stacks coming through because of it right away. And Yokat just looks to apply pressure elsewhere as he finds out Excise, who takes spacing over towards the jungle gym, but that's yet another injury coming through. 3 survivors injured. However, something to note, Barn, is that none of them have been with Sloppy Butcher, so would you say Sloppy Butcher is really worth it here?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Maybe he didn't realize just how much value he was going to get out of his powerful Ouroboros tendril here, but he is going to be forcing Excise over here to the very, very corner of the map. There it is. There's the sloppy value right there. We do have iPick with a big old red circle around him. He's going to need to spray himself, get a little bit clean, get the infection off, and get back to it. We do see another generator pop. So if I'm right, we just need a couple more and we should be on our way to victory. But we're looking like we're well on our way with Sequence heading on out as the winner of this set here. Look at the progress on this gen as well. Really, really nicely done by them to balance the resetting and the progress on the gens again, which I think is what they were missing in that Dead Dog set.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy here for Yokat to get the 4K, especially with only 2 stages so far. However, iPick does not have anything to work with at all here. Hindered 5% around the pallet. Yokat able to just apply the down there, apply yet another sloppy butcher hit. That's going to be longer resets, stalling some extra time, and Yokat's looking for a basement hook here. And that would be absolutely huge in this scenario. We do see the main building generator. We do see the generator to the right as well as the left of the main building. So Yokat might actually be able to pull it back here now that I think about it. As, I mean, a basement hook around a cold tower 3-gen. It's not going to be easy for Sequence, especially as, I mean, none of the main generators have really been progressed a lot here. And you're probably going to see that generator by the shack completed, as Yokat does find out Swatter here, who has cranked movement. I don't even know what I'm saying. Swatter just matrix dodging both of Wester's dashes there as iPick gets saved. Incredible communication from Sequence as they're looking for some hit takes here. iPick is gonna lose borrowed time, the endurance status effect here in a second, and just forces a grab.
Yeah, he will be forcing the grab out of the lockery. Sim with the D! Thanks, Q. That's a really nice thing that I get to shout every now and again. Nice to see a bit of DS back in the game after the Wraith, where we didn't have any decisive strikes at all. Very nice to see and get to yell for our friend Q there. We are going to be going back. That was such a good play, though. I guarantee the comms would have been something like, "I just juked him, get the save," as sort of was on the fire movement there. We are running main, though, so a little bit risky here considering all of the gens in this area.
Yeah, but Seth coming out with his base mind games, vaulting the window twice. Doesn't even matter. Yokat knows the lunge distance, able to once again get the hit to the pallet. DBD taking a shooter first perspective, however, all of it pretty much is on the killer. And yeah, I mean, on the server side, Yokat's gonna be leading the chase and finding out Excise. And this could be a 4th injured, just in a one coming from Sloppy Butcher here. And Excise just going to take spacing as Yokat goes and tries to protect the 3-gen here. However, when DBD decides when a hit happens on the server side, survivors don't really have anything that would give them priority. A few patches ago, or a lot of patches ago, there was a stun validation on pallet stuns, where if a survivor got a stun on their screen, it would result in the killer getting a hit, although it's not really in the game anymore, and if it is, it's not super noticeable.
Yeah,
okay,
we are going to SWAT is now taking lessons from Excise. We're going to need a coolness awareness for SWAT now as well, as he's holding the corners on those TL walls. Yokat hitting him with the infection and then heading on back to the lovely main building, which I think is going to call home for a little bit.
Yeah, Yokat is just looking to patrol around these 3 generators as Sequence looks for a reset onto Swatter, but the thing is that Swatter, if you see on the HUD, is currently infected by the Erdoberus, whatever. They are, the main point here is that they're going to be running out of the first aid sprays. The more virulent bound hits that Yokat gets here, the more infections that are applied, the less resources that Sequence will have to work with here.
Yeah, it does make it very tricky. We're heading back into the 3-gen scenario with a lack of resources. I think the only difference here is we've got this glorious main building right in the middle of them, which makes it a little bit easier for our survivor team. We've also got those exhaustion perks, so they're able to leave the gens either before they get hit with a bit of awareness or communications from their teammates, or get a little bit of extra distance in the chase if Yokat decides to leave there. I think we have found a new contender, though, for our 3-gen champion. I think Tree Trick's going to be a little bit upset here that Yokat's coming in trying to take his title.
Yeah, and Yokat finally entering chase with iPick here. Doesn't have anything to work with, as this pallet has already been destroyed, as well as the nearby pallet ship as well. So iPick's just going to take spacing towards the other side of the map as Yokat continues to apply pressure towards these 3 generators. We did see Excise taking early spacing in the distance there, as Yokat still kick on the generator. Swatter staying nearby, looking to play the jungle gym, and still has that rock filler pallet to work with. Yokat doesn't want any of it. It's just going to apply pressure towards the other generator that remains here. It's looking about 30% there, 30% completed, maybe 40 on the other generator. But Yokat has found the only injured survivor, iPick, who's able to somehow dodge both virulent bound dashes. And what does iPick have to work with here? Has his Calvin's been dropped over? It doesn't even matter. Yokat gets the hit over it, and that's gonna be a hook finally coming through onto iPick. Maybe a pain resonance stack coming through here, possibly, I believe. I think that's what it is.
There it is.
A pain resonance stack, 25% onto the most progressed generator, as Yokat looks to apply some extra pressure, really trying to get the tie condition here, as Sequence looks to get all 5 generators done. But now in chase with Swatter around the hook here. What does Swatter have to work with? Absolutely no pallets, but it doesn't even matter. Sequence gets all 5 generators completed. Sequence is going to be taking set number 2 here, and we are guaranteed going into this Artist tiebreaker game. Gonna be very interesting to see. What do you think, Barn?
I'm so excited. I always love watching Artist gameplay, so I'm excited for that. But we need to get this game finished. Firstly, I just saw some lights on the gate. We are trying to get that one open and get our players out. Oh, he slaps him with the H now. Big head on coming through from iPick, getting him a lot more distance. I think the squad is going to roll up to the gates, and this cooldown here may not be enough time for him to get close enough to a survivor. And that's going to be them taking the out. Wouldn't surprise me now if iPick maybe runs for the hatch. I'm not too sure where he has gone, but he's out nonetheless. That's 4 people out the gates. Incredible. Really, really well played from Sequence. Absolute 180 from what we saw on the Wraith set. So really nice of them to let us sit here and give us another game, give us the Artist game, because we've got a lot of M1 killers today, Squill, so it's nice to have a bit of bird throwing to mix things up. We are just going to finalize the scores here. We're having a look. What have we got? 46 to Sequence, 18 to Luminescence. So that is going to be the win. Set 2 to Sequence. We are currently 1-1. Our decision of the winner can only be made by a tiebreaker set, which is going to be the artist on the suffocation pit. So we'll hook that one up and we'll be back with you after a few minutes. Knock knock, it's housekeeping. Here I am. We did have an error which was put down to being a game bug here, so we are starting off with a fresh restart. There are no penalties applied to either side. It did appear that Yokat was kicked from the game itself. He did remain with his internet connection stable in Discord in VC and on screen share. So no penalties for anyone. Everybody is free to change their perks and their builds if they wanted to. It's not mandatory. Sometimes it's a mind game by not doing it. But we are going to be redoing the match. And with Suffo Pit, along comes a little bit of RNG difference. So interested to see how Yokat plays around this one, considering his new gen split that he's got.
Yeah, Sequence not going to be too happy about it just because they did have a pretty good start last game, but it does seem that they are lasting quite a while in chase. Sequence doing a really good job, kind of just lasting for as long as possible here, as Yokat forced to place down all three curves, but it's not even going to happen. Yokat's going to completely zone Swatter away from any pallets, and that's going to be a down on the Swatter at 5 gens, already looking to get an early Scourge hook possibly, or actually... alternatively, we do have the basement in the main building here. Once again, main building taken by Yokat here, and no monstrous shrine in play, so main buildings or basements do not count as Scourge hooks. But Yokat just looking for as much information as possible, using the birds, and probably gonna try and play around this main 3-gen here, as the survivors are doing a really good job dodging the crows, maybe stealthy around them for a save, possibly, although it's not going to be easy. And I think Yokat here, I mean, they're really just going to try and force at least second on the Swatter, really take advantage of the basement hook that is here. And there's no generators really progressed. A failed skill check in the distance here, almost at a skilled fail check, but that's not what it is, it's a failed skill check. And Yokat is kind of playing the birds here, getting as much pressure as possible, but Sequence is actually doing a surprisingly good job just dodging them. That's going to be 2 generators coming out, but it's on the other side of the map, and 3-gen is still in play. Only 1 survivor is guaranteed to be on this side of the map, and it looks like we currently see some scratch marks here over by the logs. Whoever that is for Team Sequence, they are taking some spacing, possibly looking to reposition in order to optimally save Swatter here. However, it's not going to be easy, Barn.
No, not at all. And we do see one of Artist's strengths, right, is she's able to confirm these stages and protect this hook while also pressuring the gens from a distance. Granted, if there's lockers near the gens, it does make it a little bit easier for the survivors to get them off. There's the value there from the severed hands. All it takes is 1 swarm. We're going to go for it. We're going for it. Unfortunately, not following up with the second to get that injure though, but that's okay. We've got 2 people off the gen now and we know where they are and what they're working on, so a little bit of information instead of injures here, I think, as we're gonna unfortunately say goodbye to Swatter on his first hook there. We are able to catch that swarm off in the distance. I think the survivor has enough time to get away from here, which they do. I pick
Incredible.
Running away from the abundance of birds flying at him. Really nice to see some dodging going on there cross map. Really good spot for Yokat though. Still, we've got a death with 3 gens remaining, but we do have well, we don't have 3 healthy survivors close enough. We've got 2.5 now.
You'll notice that Yokat is really only using 1 bird at a time, at least for the that first crow apply hit, just because you're gonna get a faster recharge on your follow-up dire crow hit. And what do we see here? We see that Excise gets attacked by the birds over on the generator in the distance. Yokat has a chance to maybe get an injure here. Sequence is doing an incredible job just able to completely somehow dodge all 3 birds. Honestly, it's not an easy feat to pull off as the hitboxes on those crows are quite large, and once you've already been hit by the birds, I mean, your aura is going to be revealed to the killer. Not really the aura, like the aura of the birds, but Artist is still going to have information on you. You're going to know where the birds need to go if you're Artist in this situation, and it looks like Yokat is just going to completely ignore the chase with Seth here, who's taking swing towards the other side of the map, because Yokat does have the information that X-Eyes and iPick were both spotted on this side of the map. However, no Dire Crow hits coming through here, and I think all survivors are pretty much just looking to lose position. It looks like the generator was tapped, denying any regression. However, that's a Dire Crow hit onto iPick. However, it looks like iPick actually went on top of the hill there, completely denying a follow-up hit from the Crows. And now we're in chase with Seth here, who has his pallet to work with, gets the stun. Very well played by Seth, stalling as much time as possible, denying an injure as Sequence looks to probably reset iPick in the distance there.
Yeah, I think they're going to be going for a reset cross map, which would be a nice move. We do have a lot of progress on that gen, but I don't think Yokat's going to be leaving it. You do see that generator pop over on the other side of main, and we know that we've got survivors on the other side of the map also progressing that one. So while Yokat was here kind of forcing regression on this gen, the team of Sequence, very smart, just went to another gen, and there's another one. Almost on its way to completion, as well as we do a high intensity fake of the window here by Seth on the Jake. Yokat still getting that hit. That's only 1 gen left, and quite a nice little spread here. Missing that Dire Crow, unfortunate, but we are going to continue chase through main, which is quite good. There's the last gen. I don't know what Sequence were doing, but the 3v1 powers coming through, and the 3 gens were just done.
Yeah. Absolutely gnarly performance coming through from Sequence's survivors here. Like, I mean, Swatter is the only survivor that's been hooked. That was a forced death. But X-Eyes, Seth, iPick able to just completely 3v1, denying any hook stage whatsoever, as Yokat possibly looks for a second unique stage, as well as maybe a second kill here onto Seth, who gets hit over the pallet. Yokat does not seem to be joking around here, and it appears as if Yokat just wants to force both survivors out here in this situation, just taking the 2K, taking the unique stage onto Seth here. There's going to be absolutely no save coming through, so a guaranteed. Looks like the hook stages are a little bit bugged in the bottom left there. I don't think there were that many hooks this game. Barn?
No, there was just 6 stages there, so a little bit of a some type of spectator visual bug there. I think we do end up with 6 stages and a score of 16 for Sequence and 14 for Luminescence. Incredible comeback there from Sequence after a death in the basement, really showing that camping is not as bad as it seems, and if you do the right thing, you make the right decisions, everyone can escape.
Yeah. Although the thing is that not everyone escaped, but very good 2-man out. Sequence was able to get the 2-man out, 2 fresh hooks, just able to escape the trial. And we did see that it was specifically the basement being camped, making it like 10 times harder for the survivors to get a save. And we're not just talking about any basement here, we're talking about the main basement on the suffocation pit. And I think that's why Yokat opted to bring the main building offering, as it's just a very hard main building basement to aggress as Survivor, I feel like, because you have that balcony above the stairs. You have to go down a floor twice, you have to go down the path. There's like a rail track there, kind of a dirt ramp, and then go down the basement stairs as well. So it's a pretty low into the ground basement. However, we do see a final score coming through of this game. Pretty close one, being the tiebreaker set. Sequence finishing 16 points strong on Survivor, while Luminescence finishing with 14 points on Killer. So both teams, they really won their own picks, but the tiebreaker match seems to be a bit closer so far, and we'll have to see how it turns out. Luminescence is switching over to Survivor, so we'll see how it happens after a short break. Yo, here we are back on the suffocation pit on the Macmillan Estate, possibly for the final game of this set. Maybe what are these sound effects here? I think it's the what's this, the Alice in Wonderland Artist skin? I guess I'm not used to it. It's like it's the same sound effects as normal Artist, just a little bit different here. But we've got iPick playing the Killer here in the situation. Yeah, I mean, what are we looking here as far as the build goes? Little bit of a switch up here. We do have the Agitation Pain Resonance combo. However, iPick has opted to use No Way Out this game, so we'll definitely see how that plays out. Maybe trying to prevent some escapes from happening. But iPick is gonna get the birds applied there on to VLT. Although it did seem that iPick took a while there to get the birds charged up, and VLT just able to completely remove them. Drops the Shack pallet. That is an early drop, early waste on the Shack pallet. I think that pretty much means that Luminescence has lost at this point. I mean, they've wasted the Shack pallet. What else are the Survivors going to be able to do? As iPick continues this chase on the VLT, finally getting the first hit of the game. So quite a good start from Luminescence, I'd say, Barn.
Yeah, really, really nicely done here. We are still in chase here with VLT, unfortunately missing a lot of these birds to get the down. We do see the swarm onto Zanami over there. We are going to continue the chase around the pallet gym here as our first generator pops in the distance. iPick setting up the downable bird, but missing it is a swarm instead. Big pallet there, asserting a bit of dominance. Now we see the power of the severed hands here. Unfortunately, still no hit coming through, using so much up here that he just doesn't have. It's actually wild to see. Unfortunately, once again, Zanami missing that body block, but we will get a swarm in the meantime. A lot of aggression here from the Luminescence survivors.
Look at the near perfect gameplay coming out from Luminescence survivors here. It's showing absolutely insane coordination that you wouldn't see anywhere close to in your typical public match. It's definitely possible to pull off, but it's not easy at all. It's really not easy at all to get this coordination going yet. I mean, Luminescence is doing the teamwork, the pallet stun onto iPick. I mean, absolutely just solid plays coming out. Unfortunately, they weren't able to get the hit take, but you know, that's fine. I mean, your first hit here, if you're iPick, it's already on 2 generators completed. And I'll be honest, Artist is not at all an easy killer to play versus. Artist has a lot of pressures. I would say it's kind of like, how I would describe Artist, it's like a setup killer, but done correctly. You're able to just place the birds in chase as quick as possible without losing out on much time. Alternatively, to a killer like Trapper, where you have to set up your traps early, Artist is just able to pressure around the map, set up the crows, able to use the crows for multiple different reasons, setup, information, or just like as a projectile to get some crazy snipes going. But that's the second stage forced onto VLT as a firecracker was dropped. That was interesting, but iPick continues to do a very light control onto this hook here. Gets pretty mad at VLT, who's hanging on the hook. Finally gets hit on to Sasua, but iPick might just be looking to tunnel out VLT in this situation, and that's be a little bit of value from severed hands coming through. Wait, iPick's going for Sasua here. Last thing I would have expected, but it's happening.
He is going to be continuing the chase down throughout the main building area. Big smack of the cart there. Unfortunately, not getting that hit, but we are going to be setting up the beds, doing a little bit of what Artist does best here, and getting that down on Sasuha over the pallet. Someone is lurking around here. I'm not sure if it's Tsunami again, or if it's Delusion over there with his swarm, but they're all up in Ipic's face here, and I'm not quite sure how he's going to feel about it, having them all running around him once these chases are coming to an end with someone being downed. We are going to set off our birds now, break some doors at main, and I think set up for the late game that is going to be coming soon.
Yeah, one thing to note here is that Ipic, I mean, if you're able to get multiple fresh hooks in this situation, because all Yokat was able to do last game on Artist was get ultimately just 2 fresh hooks, both resulted in kills. Although fresh hooks do reward more points and less points when escaping as survivor, and you're looking at that 16-14 score from last game. So, I mean, teams are still pretty neck and neck here if Ipic is able to get some extra fresh stages, and I think what Ipic is just going to do here is probably try and chase Delusion. That's going to be the down over the window vault, using the crows optimally, possibly a snowball effect coming through here as he gets 2 downs! 1 onto Sasha, 1 onto Delusion. The other 2 survivors healthy, maybe one of them working on a generator on the other side of the map, but this might be a Scourge hook coming through. And that's me 25% onto the most progressed generator. Ipic really doing a good job pulling this back, possibly looking for another fresh hook on to Zanami if possible. And it looks like Ipic has already found out Zanami, completely predicting the location with the birds and gonna go for 3 birds there. Zanami does a really good job maneuvering around them, not getting hit. And where's VLT here? Working on another generator. That generator is 60% because of the 25% coming through from Scourge Hook Pain Resonance. And Ipic is just going to continue to pressure the generators from far away as the birds are called out, so there isn't going to be any hits applied. But that was the save onto Delusion, so very well played by Luminescence. But I mean, Ipic able to get another hook stage here, and yeah, Ipic is on track to end up with more stages than Yokat did, but that was the last generator completed, so it's not going to be easy. I mean, teams are both pretty neck and neck here.
Yeah, we're going to have to see what the win con is in the background. We have already procced that No Way Out instantly, where we've got 3 stacks ready to go on the gates here. Now, the issue is, from my understanding, if we camp this hook to death in the basement, that's a win. So our team from Luminescence are going to have to come in potentially and get this unhook. It's that close, where all they need to do is deny the unhook. We're still waiting for the No Way Out there. I'm not too sure if they know about this win con, but if Sasuha does get camped to death and they don't rescue him, that is going to be the win to sequence by 1 point. 1 point.
It seems that they've realized, and Delusion getting hit early. Wait. They got the save! What has happened? Wait, they actually got the save, but VLT did go down, so all Ipic has to do here is hook VLT. Although Ipic going for some extra pressure here, throws applied onto pretty much all survivors in the game except for Delusion. And Ipic, I believe, is just going to go back for the hook onto VLT here, and a second stage onto VLT would pretty much guarantee the win for... Wait a minute. No. Wait. Is that enough? I think, if I'm not mistaken, that is the win for sequence?
It is, yes. We do end up with a final score of 28 points to Luminescence. Nope. 30 points to Luminescence and 31 to Sequence. So 1 point is
1 point.
all that matters. 1 point difference in such an incredible matchup this evening between Sequence and Luminescence. We went to the tiebreaker, but ultimately we do end up with a 2-1 in Sequence's favor.
Yeah, I mean, Luminescence was able to just have an incredible survivor performance, but Sequence was able to pull through with their pick onto Mastermind, and I mean, neck and neck between both teams in this last tiebreaker set, but Sequence winning by 1 point. And something to note here is that Luminescence was a bit higher on the standings than Sequence, so I guess you could say it was a little bit of an upset, but yeah, I mean, both teams really strong. Very good performance from both sides. Super competitive. Incredibly competitive Dead by Daylight coming through here.